Well, welcome.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to create a place where therapists get to come and talk about things, and then it ended up being people who aren't therapists. So I have no focus.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about therapy.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, and
Mm.
maybe even like, how did you become a therapist? How did it become the thing you wanted to do?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good question. I haven't thought about that for a while. Well, it was something that I came to later in life. So, my first career was as a physiotherapist, and I was sort of raised in a very scientifically minded family, and healthcare was certainly something within our family, and not like mental health care though. Like I've got
Right. The
grandpas that were
physical kind.
grandpas that were physicians, and grandmas were nurses, and sort of more that direction. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I was drawn to that earlier in my early stages. I remember actually one of my biology teachers in high school said to me one day, "Oh, Laura, you'd make a really good pediatrician." And I was in high school, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Why would you think I'd be a good like foot doctor?" I didn't know what a pediatrician. I'm like,
Podiatrist.
yeah. I thought peds was like foot related. Anyways, I thought that was a bit strange. But anyways,
I would even think that in high school being thought of as a pediatrician might be a bit strange.
yeah, I don't know. I know. It was sort of, anyways, I ended up going into physiotherapy, and I did a lot of work in pediatrics, and was at Children and Women's Hospital for a number of years. And then when our family moved to a smaller town, and the pediatric focus was a little bit more challenging to sort of fill a practice with. And so I branched out into women's health and some pelvic floor work. And it was actually through that work that I realized I think I really want to switch careers, because I would speak to these women that had come for like pelvic floor therapy, and I mean, very intimate issue.
Okay, let's take a minute and explore what that means.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had pelvic floor therapy. It sounds like the complete opposite of what I'd ever want to do.
Most people, they don't come on just a whim of like, hey, this would be a great
This
idea.
seems good. Yeah.
It's more, okay, I'm having issues, either
Like,
pelvic pain or incontinence issues would be.
okay. Is it like women who've had a lot of babies?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
definitely. So women that have had a lot of babies, for sure, those would be sort of, and then women that are aging, and as our body changes, and things start even just internally to droop, because they don't just droop externally, they droop internally too.
Oh
And
my
so
God, I never thought about that.
you don't probably want to too much, but
Like your insides are falling out.
yeah. Yeah. So maybe
Basically.
a last ditch attempt before maybe a hysterectomy or something like that. So I would have that sort of clientele. And then also a lot of women, how we bring our pain shows up very physically. And for some people,
Yes.
that shows up for them in the pelvic region. And so they have a lot of pelvic pain just on the day to day.
Which I'm guessing there's no sort of medical diagnosis for. It's just this sort of mystery pain, which segue to, I really want to know what happened to these women. Is that what happened?
Exactly. So then I'd be sitting with these women and taking a history and learning about, it's an interesting area, because so much history does get held in our wombs and in our pelvises, and so I just found that the physical part that I could offer them, I wasn't interested in so much, because I'm like, this is so much more like, there's so much more going on here. And so I just found the histories that I was with these women just so I don't know, just not fascinating,
Compelling?
compelling. And I just felt like I didn't have the tools to really fix or help the issue.
I have
And
a question about that.
mhm,
Sorry to interrupt. Do you think what you were putting together in their history with their medical concerns or pain issues, do you think they were putting it together too? Or do you think they were like, because a lot of people, and me included, that's why I'm asking,
mm,
I did not connect the dots on that at
oh,
all.
for
I
sure.
could have given you my history and thought it had nothing to do with why I would have been there.
Exactly. 100%. And I would say most women show up the same way, like we would, most women show up to our family physicians, and all of a sudden we're like, I have reflux and I don't know where this is coming from. And maybe it's a stress induced, like an anxiety induced reflux. But
Right.
until then, you're just like, no, I just have reflux. And then you kind of connect the dots. But that's what was happening in like the physiotherapy office. At least that's what was happening for me. But I didn't have
Yeah.
the skills, the skill set to professionally, also working under as a college. I have very guided, okay, these are the,
Right.
this is your area of practice, you don't step outside your area of practice.
Yeah. You're out of scope
Out of
saying, can we
school,
talk
yeah,
about what happened with your uncle?
yeah. And that's what I wanted to ask, but I'm like, that's, and so all of a sudden, and I felt like I just wanted to stay in that with the people that I was working with versus, okay, now we're going to move on to the pelvic floor therapy. And I'm like, I got to switch professions. So I did.
Mm-hmm.
I went back. I had three little kids. My youngest had just started kindergarten. My grandparents had passed away and left me some money, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do my master's with the money that they left me.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that. That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I took that and then yeah, went back, did my master's. So that would have been like 8 years. I know 8 years ago I started that.
Wow.
So
That's
9
when I
years.
met you.
Yeah, that's when we met. Yeah. So we go
Back to
back.
the pelvic floor thing for one more
Yeah.
time before
Hmm.
I like absolutely hammer it to death. Sorry. My husband's grandma. So my father-in-law was one of, I think she had 22 births.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I think she lost two babies or something, but she had 22 pregnancies and she lived to be 97, lived
Wow.
on her own for most of that. And I always thought, what the hell kind of shape is her pelvic floor in? Like, and I didn't think pelvic floor because I don't have that language. I didn't have that
Mhm.
language, but I used to think, what is falling to bits inside her?
There would be stuff, I guarantee. Oh yeah.
And
Just
I
everything.
bet that generation, I mean, that was Depression era. They didn't
You
probably
don't
even
know.
talk about it.
No way. You don't talk about that.
No.
Mm-mm. But
But
20.
I have heard stories from women of a certain age where I can't remember where I heard this, but I can't remember where this came from. Maybe you've heard it too. Like some women would just put something in their vagina to hold their
Oh
organs
yeah.
up.
That's called a
And
pessary.
there was one incident, I can't remember who told me, where the woman had put a potato inside her and she forgot about it and it sprouted. I'm not kidding. It was growing out of her and she couldn't figure out what it was and went to the doctor and it was a potato.
You know,
Like we've come a
well,
long way.
we've come a long way because now we have pessaries. They're wonderful. They help. They're like an orthotic type thing. They just support things and keep your bladder from falling out, keep your uterus from falling out, just hold stuff. So a potato, hey,
Hey,
back in the
yeah,
day when you didn't tell anybody, shame
right.
on you for even discussing something like that.
Yeah.
Figure it out on your own. These women, like, good for them. And a
Yeah.
potato's I don't know about
You
it
work
sprouting.
with what you got.
Work with what you got. So it's probably not, that's, it's a
That's not
warm
far from
environment.
the truth.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, It's like a root cellar. Never mind. Okay. So then you transferred. Well, okay, this is also what I would like to know. When you decided, oh, I want to go back to school and be a therapist, what did the people in your life think of that?
Very supportive, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Primarily my husband. He was very supportive, and which was
He didn't know
wonderful.
what was about to hit him.
No, I'd say mid masters. He called himself Mr. Mom. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He was Mr. Mom, and so there were some moments for sure that were challenged, but initially and the support, most of the way through for sure. My kids
I
were.
was thinking more of like what it's like to be married to a therapist. Oof.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I can only imagine, but I know my husband sometimes just, well, he's made overt comments about like, I hate arguing with you because you could talk your way out of a paper bag. Like, stop using that shit on me, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
I
I mean, it
think we're
changes.
hard to live with.
I'd say during more so like we've kind of figured it out a little bit more as a family now, but at the beginning when it was really hard, I'd say being married, having three children, and going into the profession because it's a bit of a. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yes.
It's a bit of a mind fuck. Like it's just
Right.
you're just like, oh my gosh, I've screwed up my kids, I've screwed up my all the things I'm kind of
Yeah.
how I'd approach things. You approach things differently as a mother than you do as a therapist, as a wife than you do as a therapist. But all of a
Yeah.
sudden, these worlds were coming together, and I was navigating kind of how do I compartmentalize
Oh,
my hats. And when you're going in school and learning, you're just so immersed in it all. That was
yes.
a challenge. That definitely, and it still
Yeah.
is a challenge. I mean, I think we all as therapists struggle with that. Like within our own
Yeah.
family, like trying to not be the therapist, like, or
Oh
not
my
come
God.
at something, like just come at as a sister would or a
Yeah.
mother would versus coming at it as a sister who is also a counselor. Like you can never remove that completely, but
No, I know what you mean. And like sometimes I've noticed like I either I think I should live up to the ideal of what a therapist would say with my kids,
mm-hmm.
or they do. Like they now will say to me, well, what kind of counselor are you? Because I'm like not a counselor with them. I'm just their crazy, sometimes inappropriate, losing her shit mother. And they're like, God, do you talk to your clients like this? That's one thing they've said to me.
Oh, right.
I'm like, no,
No.
because they're clients and you're not.
Or they're like on the complete reverse, which is what I also get. Like, Mom, stop like
Being a
counseling
counselor.
me. Yes.
Yes, I
And I'm
know.
like, hey, you're right. Sorry, I need to. Yeah.
The summary of it all is there's no way we don't win. There's no like there's no good kind of path.
No.
Except when they forget what we do for a living and we do too. And then we're just people. I
Yeah.
remember saying to someone, he said something about, oh, I didn't expect to hear that from a therapist. I'm like, I'm not a therapist in my real life.
Yeah. Good answer. Right? Yeah.
I'm just a lunatic like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find when I just really just let my feelings be, then I can get rid of the therapist part. I don't know if that sounds weird or not, but I guess just as therapists, when we're receiving so much information, I just feel like we are just holding it in, or we're attempting to hold it in such a healing way all the time that just,
Yeah.
even though you're feeling it or you are, but you're feeling it differently than when you just like feel it as just a person living
Yeah.
their life. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, when we're with people and they're giving us their story and we're trying to hold it, we are like there's multiple levels of awareness happening at the same time. Like there's the
Yeah.
human part and then there's the clinical kind of idea of what we're doing and then like it's yeah, it's different than just raw experience human being stuff from a friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I can get into that or just let that, then I can, that's when I feel like I can let go of the counselor in me
Mhm.
the most effectively, I'd say. Because it's nice to not always be a counselor. Like you don't always want to be like just
It's sometimes like a really good place to hide,
yeah.
but actually I think people who really know me know when I'm hiding out there, like where I just want to be the one that is giving the attention and compassion and but I don't let myself be vulnerable enough and I don't need anything. Like I can hide there sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and it is an easier place to maybe be,
Yeah.
really kind of raw and vulnerable. And
What has surprised you over this time that you've been in this field? Like what has surprised you about being in the world of therapy?
uh, I'd say the thing that has surprised me, and maybe it's coming from kind of linking it back to sort of that question of like how when I first said, okay, I'm going to go into this world, and one of the things that I had a lot of
Mhm. Right. Right. They're going to kick you to death. You got to be on the edge of the pool a little bit. Right. Right. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And have a life. Hmm. Mhm. 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 It humanizes like our field, we humanize as our main objective. And so as soon as you humanize someone and know their story, the rest of it falls away. Like whatever they've done or whatever the hell they're up to or whatever fent- fentanyl they're doing. doesn't matter anymore because it's this person.
I know.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. I had a professor who used to always say to us, there there has to be nothing that someone does that's your client that you don't fully understand, and if you don't understand it yet, your work is not done. Like, you have to get to the point where, oh, that's what she said. She said everything makes sense to you. That's where you want to get to. Everything your client does makes complete sense. And if Yeah, because then you're in this. I think being a therapist is like being a detective, like you're trying to figure out what makes it make sense or how to connect the dots or yeah. Mhm. Hmm. Like you're feeling like you've been feeling naive? What made you think about it? Like, what made you go, "Oh, do I believe everything people tell me?" Well, first of all, I think we do because like, whenever I've had a client where I think where they're going with it is they want me to go to court for them for some reason, I always tell them, "Listen, I'm the most subjective person you are ever gonna meet. I'm gonna believe every single thing you tell me. I am useless in court. I'm like, they're gonna rip me to like, I'm not an objective force here. I'm, like, in it with you, and what you tell me, I'm" so, I don't know, is it that, or is it more like, "Whoa, yeah." Well, I guess what comes to mind for me is psychologists and psychiatrists. They have that training around testing and diagnostic things and forensic things that is where they study the malingering client, like the for purposes, usually for purposes of something to do with the court system. And therapists, like plain old everyday therapists like you and me, we're not really in that realm very much. No, that's an interesting thing. Do you think, like when you look at your own childhood, are there things that you never experienced you think that um have made you so trusting? Like where does it come from that you start by trusting? Yeah, the world is good. And people are good. See the best in them. Like, you had a sort of like it sounds like you had that sort of, to me, weird childhood that was really safe and wonderful. And yeah, I don't want it to be weird because I want to think my kids have had that, and I want to believe it is possible. Healthy families do exist. Yeah. And so, what's it like to relate to people who've had a lot of trauma? I mean, I guess how would we ever know what it's like on the other side of something we've not experienced, right? Mhm. Right. Yes. And I have been guilty of saying, I have said this, and I sometimes mean it, but then in moments like this, I think, oh, what a bunch of shit. That real, when you're a therapist and you've had a really bad childhood or a lot of trauma in your past, it makes a really good therapist. I don't know now if that's if I'm so sure about that. Like, because when I think of the therapists I know who've been really good, like a lot of them never experienced really bad, like the people who did not have that in their past and are therapists, they have this ability that I don't have where they're less triggered by a lot of things. Like they can hold it in a different way. And it's like not, I think I shouldn't be so black and white about that because I think there's different gifts you bring when you're not triggered by a million types of people that remind you of your past. And maybe you have more access to your ability to feel with. Like, I don't know. I'm doing that thing where I'm polarizing something that doesn't need polarizing, you know? Like, there's all different kinds of therapists. Right. No. No, because I think if we go back to the person drowning in the pool, like there's there's the lifeguard who actually is just really focused on their training and has never drowned and is ready and willing to go. And then there's the person who has almost drowned who just wants to talk about what it was like for them when they drowned. Yes. Yes. I didn't know we'd end up talking about that. That's interesting. And it challenges me because I I think sometimes I come too much from that place of when you've been there, you can walk the journey with somebody, but that that's not a criteria for being good at your job in this work. It's not. Well, I know not because I know you, and I know other people who haven't, who can work with, like I said, a broader range sometimes than I can because they don't have the same emotional charge on things. And they, when you're emotionally charged on something, like for me, if I run across somebody with a certain personality type or a certain set of issues and I get charged from my own past stuff, my brain is offline. Like that's when I probably do inappropriate things like end up yelling at a client or something. Like I don't do it very often, but it has happened. Like where I just get so heated and wound up? Yeah, I don't think so. No. But do you have to have experienced your own ability to feel your own feelings to be able to show up for someone emotionally? Yeah. But that has nothing to do with um your past. That's about well, let's segue onto this topic. When you've gone to your own therapy, what if what would stand out to you as helpful, not helpful in your own experiences? Yep. God, we spend so much money on training. It is that. It's like, does this person get me, see me, feel me? Do I feel felt and accept me? Yeah. And what's been the least helpful? Like, do you have any stories of like bad therapy moments you've experienced? I know what you mean. They want to do something to you. I get it. Yeah, the agenda. Oh God. And I'm guilty of having done that because I get lured into thinking as a therapist that people want that. But the longer I've been in this work, the more I realize what people really want is to just be heard. And they don't want the fancy pants intervention. Or they want it when the time is right, but not yeah, like I've really experienced that being in the therapy I'm in right now. It because she did nothing. Like she didn't do nothing, but she didn't speak. She didn't start conversation. She didn't ask me questions. She just waited for many, 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 many sessions for me to initiate talking and just do the talking. And I was fucking lost as a client in that. I was anxious. I was like, what is happening here? What is, and I think it's been the most grown up therapy I've ever done. And she said to me, most therapy tries to alleviate anxiety in their clients. And this kind of therapy, psychoanalysis, elicits it. It it was. It really was like, God, I got nowhere to hide. Oh, God, could you please come up with something for us to talk about so I could be the good client? Oh, right. Like unrehearsed, sort of in the moment. Yeah. And that is, I agree with you. I think that is what people crave. Maybe more now than ever. People want, yeah, to be felt and to be seen and to not felt, like, there's a better way to say that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so anyway, I can't help myself now. I'm gonna launch into, what is your favorite kind of therapy, though? Like, when the time is right and when the, relationship is there and all of that is done, like, when it comes to sort of a style, do you have either? As a therapist, maybe. What do you Yeah, what have you fallen in love with as a type of therapy? Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Right. Do you follow it? Yeah. 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 I also have heard from someone that went to see you that they said, "It's such a relief to see her because she doesn't try to do anything to me." Yeah. Yeah. I have heard that. So there you go. That's validation that, Uncle Carl was onto something. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Cerebral. Mhm. If you were gonna send your kids to somebody, What would you hope and what did you hope they wouldn't do? Yeah, too stuffy. Mhm. Yeah. Yes. Detached. Mhm. Yeah. I love that description. Curling up under a warm blanket, like, let your hair down place. Yeah. Mhm. Like, I thought when the first several years in being a therapist, I thought unconditional positive regard just meant being friendly. Like I thought it was easy and it was of course you're gonna do that. It wasn't till much later that I realized how profound it is to actually experience that. Maybe it's because I hit a bottom in my own life, went to therapy, and I really felt the therapist I saw gave me that, and that changed my view on not only how challenging it is to do well, like it's not just being friendly. It's like I can hear everything you say and I can hold it all and I'm not going to judge it and I'm not going to freak out and yeah, I had such an eye opener for how magical that is. And that's what I hear you describing. Yeah. Right. Yes. Most people would say that's the only place the other place they get it. I mean, you're definitely not getting it from your cat. I have a cat, and it's a no. Yep. Yeah, and that leads to what in your experience? Like, once that's in the room and the person knows they can be whoever, like, then what is it you find happens? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, where once they feel that someone's accepting them, they can they accept themselves. Yeah. 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 Yeah, like there's not a lot you couldn't face in life from that place. When can I come and see you? Let's book it. Let's book an appointment. I'm like never done looking for new therapists. Like I I was joking. My person that I see, she was kind of joking with me about how many she went on a leave for the summer for 6 weeks or something like that. And she was kind of joking about how many new therapists I might engage in the time that she's away. Like I've never gotten over not being parented. God. Okay, here's my next question. I'm looking over at what I wrote down right before you came on the call. Um, what frustrates you about the field of therapy? Like, meaning, uh, yeah. Mhm. Right. That pressure to achieve or pressure for the client to have to change before it feels like it's the right timing. Yeah. Mm. I think that the cost. Yes. The unavailability of it for everyone. And when it is available for everyone, there is this pressure that, hurry up kind of feeling. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Scrutinize. Yeah. Right. That's so true. I think I'm thinking of what I think because I was like, didn't think of my own. Well, I agree with you because I think that pressure and any kind of timeline puts this pressure that puts it on this trajectory that it's about change and it's about progress and it's about fixing. And that puts it on another trajectory that's about pathology and symptomology and resolving symptoms and all the shit that I don't really believe in. It's not that I don't believe in it because want, I want people to experience relief from suffering. But the way that then goes about it is all about a pathological look into a wound. And I get frustrated by that because wounds are part of being human. And like some people don't want to change the things that other people around them think need changing. Yeah. Yeah. Like I remember working with someone once who was really a artist at heart, and her depth of feeling and pain and, like, inner misery and longing, and, like, she actually um, quite what's the word? Valued what that gave her in her world, but she was getting all this pressure that she needed to come out of her depression, and I remember just, like, getting to talk to her one day about, "Says who?" Like, "What if this is part of the way that you operate, and this is your way of accessing the artist in you?" And yeah, I wonder what that says about me, 'cause, sometimes I believe in things that I'm not able to do for myself, like, all the time. Such is such is life. Let's play a little game to finish up. But I don't know if there's something more that we didn't talk about. I feel like there's so much more to talk about, but is there anything else? I know. Okay, I do have one more question before we play the finishing thing. Um, what makes you what is it that you do as a therapist that makes you able to keep going? Like, if you think, "I got another 20 years at this," what is it you need to do to be able to do that? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I love that too. That is because I remember phoning around at one time trying to get a tattoo, and all of their books were closed, quote unquote. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? It means they're not taking anybody else even to wait. And I actually had the thought, why am I not doing that? Like, because the pressure of having a bunch of people wait leads into that time pressure, and that, like, we're perpetrating that on ourselves. No, it's true. Yeah. Mhm. Mm, mm, outside. That's a good recipe. I That's good. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play word association with you. I'll say a word, you say what comes to your mind. Okay. Daughters, healing, trauma, trust, change. Yay! That's a good place to stop. Well, thank you so much, Laura. I could talk to you all day. Yeah, and you will. And you're gonna come back and we'll do it again. And where can people get a hold of you if they want to? Yeah. And that spelled Laura, Cain, and counseling with 2 L's. Okay. Well, thanks for being here.